Welcome to United Network News, the official news channel for CARE, the Center for Amity and Restoration of Earth. I'm Sunny Galt. At UNN, you get the real news. Through our field messengers, we show you the truth about what's really taking place in our communities. We also bring you stories to help you remember who you are and why you're here, as well as regional stories that impact the people. And our World Situation Report reveals what's happening throughout the multiverse. We are here to restore Earth. In the U.S., it is Friday, June 28th, 2024. In Iowa, we'll tour a popular movie set from the 1980s that gave us the phrase, "If you build it, they will come," a story about dreams coming true. And in Romania, we'll visit the home of one of the most influential sculptors of the 20th century. Learn more about the place that influenced his artistry. Want to lose weight and become more healthy? We'll discuss one of the biggest secrets to losing weight, and it's all about reconnecting with your body. An attempted coup takes place in Bolivia by armed forces. Arrests were made and a new military commander was sworn in. And Egypt extends their daily power cuts due to the ongoing heat wave, causing major issues for the people.
This is Calen Giff, messenger for United Network News. Here's a look at today's Field Messenger reports from all around the world. The Field of Dreams movie site in Dyersville, Iowa, offers a captivating experience with its collection of memorabilia and historical insights about the film and the real-life White Sox players. UNN Field Messenger Diane guides us through this iconic place.
Welcome to the Field of Dreams movie site located in Dyersville, Iowa. Hi, I'm Diane, Field Messenger for United Network News. There is a wonderful exhibit in downtown Dyersville called If You Build It. It is beautifully laid out and has a wealth of information about the real White Sox players and the actors who portrayed them. Memorabilia, photos, script pages, and just about everything Field of Dreams you would want to know about, including the past, present, and future plans. This is the original house when chosen in 1988 and the movie Transformation. There is a fee to enter the house to take a guided tour. It is well worth it, as Craig, our tour guide, filled us with an abundance of filming detail, ball field construction, the corn, film locations, and Dyersville and its people. He also talked about the property's future expansion. You may be wondering where all the corn is. Well, it's just being planted this weekend. Thank you for watching. I'm Diane, Field Messenger for United Network News.
Konstantin Brancusi is one of the most influential sculptors of the 20th century. He revolutionized modern art with his daring simplicity and profound artistry. UNN Field Messenger Monica introduces us to his life and work.
Hello, this is Monica, Field Messenger for United Network News, reporting from Romania. Brancusi, the Romanian genius sculptor, is an important Romanian sculptor who set modern art on a new path. He is an example, and not for his will or his talent, but for the joy of giving everything and expecting nothing in return. Two elements were of great importance in the development of the man who was to change the world: the love of God or Creator, and the freedom that the village of his birth, Hobița, gave him. Freedom to explore, live in harmony with nature, dream and look beyond apparent limits toward the eternal, to understand the essence and love. The Brancusi Memorial House has a large porch that runs the length of the house and 3 rooms. The first is the living room. Here we can see the dowry chest, the cupboard with the sun motif, and the stove that was used to heat the room. The kitchen, the second room, has the fireplace where the food was cooked, the cornata, ancestor of the kitchen hood, the cauldron, the round table. Later, in his Paris studio, when he had guests, Brancusi would sit them at his table, as he did in Romania, and serve them food that he had cooked, as it is eaten in Romania. Thank you for watching. See you next time.
We want you to become a UNN field messenger. These are everyday people just like you who want to make a difference in their community. You don't need any special training or equipment. Just use the camera on your mobile phone and show us what's happening in your area. You send us your videos and our production team will create the report for you. Our new website is now up and running at unitednetwork.earth. You can submit your Field Messenger reports directly through the Field Messenger tab at the top of the page. You can also email your reports to our new email address at fieldmessenger@unitednetwork.earth.
Hey, I'm Kirsten from Switzerland.
This is Wayne from Tucson.
Hi, my name is Desmond from Ghana.
I am Claudia from Dawsonville, Georgia.
I'm Mikey from Pretoria, South Africa.
Hi, I'm Steve McGrath, Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada.
People from all around the world are coming together.
Happy day, beautiful world. We are here in a rather small urban garden, and this video is just to show you the joys that we've had in this garden with the electric gardening.
When news happens in their area, they show us what's really going on.
We have people in the streets protesting for and against.
At United Network News, our field messengers are changing the face of news.
This is Field Messenger Helen reporting with nature, and I'm going to talk to you about the bees again.
Take the next step in restoring our planet. Become a UNN Field Messenger today.
Hi, I'm Stephanie from South Africa. If it's going to be, it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to me. It's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to all of us. We're UNN, and we're taking back the news.
The quality of food that we eat is changing in the new earth. For far too long, we've been eating food that is artificial and loaded with ingredients that are harmful to our bodies. This can lead to many issues, including weight gain. Inga Lightly is a healthy food coach. She and her husband have a YouTube channel called Health Origins, where they help people transform their eating habits by becoming more mindful. Inga says the best way to regain control over our weight is to go back to basics and listen to our bodies. So Inga is joining us today, and Inga, we're talking about weight loss. And I know a lot of people struggle with this, and this isn't just about, being able to look super slim like, the people in the magazines or whatever. This is really about feeling healthy and feeling good about yourself. And on your YouTube channel, you talk about a weight loss secret. I don't want this to sound too flashy, amazing weight loss. You don't have to do any work. But what is your weight loss secret for people that really just want to be healthy and feel good about themselves?
Weight loss and, the whole area there is so complex, and there's so many different diets, different tips, different suggestions that people just, feel lost and they're confused and don't know what to follow. But I think, it helps to go back to basics. Our bodies is the most perfect machine there is, right? Our bodies know perfectly well how many calories, it needs without us having to count them, put points or anything like that. Our bodies can actually signal us of when they need more food, and that simple secret is hunger signal. Okay, so we should all be learning to, or or if you've never done it, kind of remember how to listen to your hunger signal. Because I know perfectly well myself that it's just so easy to snack throughout all of the day without really feeling hungry. You just feel like having this, you feel like having this, something savory, something sweet, a cup of tea, and different things throughout the day, and you really don't feel hungry. And the breakfast rolls around and you kind of being used to, you just, you have your usuals without even thinking, well, actually, am I hungry? Do I need to eat yet? So that's really, really important for people to start connecting with their bodies, because our bodies can tell us perfectly of when it needs food. So, for example, personally, me, I don't get hungry till about 11 o'clock or so. So I just don't eat. And then when I do feel first hunger pangs and hunger signals, and everybody has different ways how they feel hunger, that's another thing. Some people, feel headache. Some people have tummy rumbles like I have. That's probably most usual one. Some people feel nauseous. I mean, I feel a little bit nauseous maybe if I've gone over hungry for too long. But it's important to start noticing those little signals and patterns that your body is trying to tell you. And try and start following it and eat when you're hungry. And that is it seems like so simplistic, but yet, a lot of us just never do it.
It's so true. And, I guess a lot of us are looking for something more flashy, but this is about us reconnecting with our bodies on so many different ways. We look down, we see our bodies, but I feel like so many of us are just so disconnected from them and how they operate just naturally. So I love this. It's getting back to basics. And I think too, the other thing is obviously what you're feeding yourself when you're hungry is a whole other topic, right? Yeah. But if we are eating food that is not good food for our body and it's empty and it's just sugar or something like that, that is also not going to make us feel full, at least not for very long, right? Yeah. And then we're going to get those hunger pains again. Or whatever it is, headache. Yeah. I feel like we have to eat again.
Yeah. What will happen, because that's, again, it's another topic altogether, what to eat, the right foods, types of food to eat for human beings. But your body will actually tell you that, it requires, so when we're eating incorrect types of foods, right, we get hungry much sooner again, is because it knows it didn't get the nutrients it needed, and it's clever and it's asking for more food, hoping that this time you'll give it the right nutrition. So but at least, if we can do the first right step towards just listening to our bodies and starting to connect with them, and not eating when we are not hungry, because that's a mistake a lot of people do, and I know myself included. I have been doing this for quite a while.
Me too. At Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles, researchers have created a new method to identify which gut microbes contribute to inflammatory diseases like obesity, liver disease, inflammatory bowel disease, and some neurological conditions. This technique uses a protein found in blood to detect harmful gut microbes that have crossed the gut barrier and activated immune cells. When microorganisms cross the intestinal wall, they often cause swelling of the tissues and immune system overactivation, which are key features of many illnesses. Understanding which specific microbes, particularly bacteria, cause disease will help develop methods to eliminate them and restore balance and health to the body. Researchers plan to continue studying which gut bacteria are harmful and which ones are beneficial. This research offers new insights into disease progression and potential solutions. A new study from the U.S. suggests adding just a spoonful of olive oil to your daily diet could have significant health benefits. The study found that adults who consumed more than a teaspoon of olive oil daily were 28% less likely to die from dementia-related diseases compared to those who rarely consumed it. Olive oil's high content of monosaturated fatty acids and antioxidants like vitamin E and polyphenols are key. These have anti-inflammatory and neuroprotective effects. Adopting preventative measures such as a diet rich in olive oil, along with an active lifestyle, may offer the best defense against dementia-related diseases. Understanding the health impacts of olive oil could pave the way for improving health outcomes for people around the world. Scientists at Oxford University have made a breakthrough in cancer surgery using a fluorescent dye attached to a special marker molecule. This innovation gives surgeons a second pair of eyes to detect cancerous tissues during operations. In a trial involving 23 men with prostate cancer, the marker dye was injected before surgery. It revealed areas of cancerous tissue not visible to the naked eye or through other clinical methods. The dye allows surgeons to see the tumor's edges and identify any cancer cells that have spread to nearby tissues and lymph nodes. This technique ensures thorough removal of cancer cells and preservation of healthy areas, substantially decreasing the chances of cancer returning. This new method is seen as a promising tool for the future of cancer surgery, offering hope for more effective treatments and longer, healthier lives. We are United Network News. Every day, we release real stories from real people all over the world.
Field Messenger reporting from Gold Coast, Australia,
Denmark,
Canada,
Uganda,
from Atlanta, in Southern California.
In their own words, people like you share what's really happening in their area. At UNN, you are the news. You are creating a new world with infinite possibilities. You are the restoration plan. Come join us for the real news every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, only on United Network. We're UNN, and we're taking back the news. Bolivian armed forces attempted a coup on Wednesday evening, advancing on the presidential palace and forcing its door with an armored vehicle. Military units led by a recently dismissed general gathered in the central square, leading to chaotic scenes. The president condemned the move as a coup and called for international support and popular mobilization to defend democracy. Following hours of tension, soldiers withdrew from the square, with the police taking control. The dismissed general was arrested and a new military commander was sworn in. The public prosecutor's office announced it would investigate those involved in the coup attempt. In Zimbabwe, police clashed with opposition supporters outside a court in the country's capital, resulting in multiple beatings and arrests. The incident occurred after the opposition party members were denied bail related to their previous arrests for attending an unauthorized political gathering. The court's decision to deny bail, citing concerns about potential public disturbances and witness interference, has intensified tensions. Witnesses reported anti-riot police units were stationed at the court entrance and multiple arrests were made following a statement from the president warning against troublemakers. The opposition's legal representatives have announced plans to appeal the bail denial in the High Court, arguing there were no strong reasons to hold the accused without bail. Egypt has extended daily power cuts to 3 hours due to increased electricity consumption amid an ongoing heat wave. Originally planned as a 2-hour interruption on Sunday and Monday, the extension will now last through the week. The electricity and petroleum ministries attribute this decision to extreme temperatures and the necessity of maintaining gas network stability. Since last July, load shedding caused by falling gas production and rising demand has led to scheduled 2-hour daily cuts. The frequent outages, which began last summer, have caused significant disruptions for businesses and growing frustration amongst citizens. Recently, the power cuts have even led to tragic incidents, such as accidental deaths during the blackouts. Officials blame the cuts on the rising demand from the country's population and ongoing development projects. India's Supreme Court is ruling next month on whether marital rape should be criminalized in the new penal code. The new laws replacing colonial-era codes from 1860 are set to take effect on July 1st. The Home Minister announced reforms aiming to modernize laws and better protect women. These new laws consider consensual sex on a false promise of marriage a crime, imposing a 10-year sentence. However, marital rape will not be criminalized if the wife is older than 18. Critics argue this is rooted in outdated thinking, giving men unchecked control over their wives' bodies. This stance conflicts with the Constitution's protections for women against violence and upholding equality. The reluctance to criminalize marital rape is seen as an effort to appease conservative voters. The government of Tajikistan has implemented a new law banning the hijab. This law is part of 35 religion-related acts aiming to protect national cultural values and combat superstition and extremism. The law prohibits the wearing of foreign clothing, including the hijab, and the citizens are encouraged to wear traditional Tajik dress instead. Violators face fines ranging from 700 euros or $750 for ordinary citizens to 5,000 euros or $5,350 for religious figures. The government banned the hijab in public institutions in 2009 and enforced rules to reduce religious influences, including the forced shaving of men with beards and restrictions on minors' access to places of worship. In Europe, the hijab is also a contentious subject, with several nations implementing bans. Critics argue these measures infringe on women's rights and could lead to broader discrimination against Muslim communities. A recent analysis has highlighted concerns about the effectiveness of Singapore's Protection from Online Falsehoods and Manipulation Act in combating misinformation. Concerns were raised about the Act's uneven application, which may reduce its efficacy. The analysis showed less than 40% of people believed regulations reduced false information online during elections. The artificial intelligence also presents new challenges, with tools that can create convincing deep fakes easily accessible to the public. With the generative AI on the rise, the effectiveness of current regulations is increasingly questioned. Experts stress the need for multiple fact-checking sources, greater data transparency, and more comprehensive media literacy to better protect against misinformation. Collaboration among civil society, journalists, and educational institutions is critical to building national resilience against falsehoods. Channel 7, a major Australian free-to-air broadcaster, faces a mass staff exodus following significant management layoffs. The broadcaster has dismissed its top management, with just the chairman and his associate remaining. This wave of redundancies has impacted many, including long-standing and recently hired executives. The mass layoffs continue to affect employees across various departments, with speculations of up to 100 more jobs at risk. The broadcaster's shares have plummeted, hovering near an all-time low, reflecting the serious decline in the free-to-air TV market. The network reported substantial drops in earnings and net profits for the first half of the financial year, largely due to the shrinking audience for linear TV and the migration of advertising funds to digital platforms. The number of sexual assault survivors reporting their experiences to the police has increased for the 12th consecutive year in Australia, reaching a record high. According to new data, in 2023, there were notable increases in reported offenses across almost all states and territories. Women are the majority of sexual assault victims, with a substantial portion of these victims being young, between the ages of 10 and 17. Nearly 40% of sexual assaults were related to family and domestic violence. Homicide and related offenses also witnessed an increase, with the most common victims being men and people in their mid-30s to mid-40s. Family and domestic violence was a significant factor in such cases, particularly affecting older women. The number of blackmail and extortion cases surged, with the latest increases observed in New South Wales and Western Australia. Walgreens has announced plans to close many of its 8,600 U.S. stores as part of a strategy to revive its struggling business. The CEO said around 25% of unprofitable stores are facing imminent closures, highlighting issues such as store profitability, proximity, and theft. While exact details were sparse, it's expected the closures will happen during the next 3 years, with most affected employees being offered jobs at other locations. This news comes as Walgreens shares hit their lowest in decades, and the company cut its full-year profit outlook. The closures are expected to impact communities, especially those relying on local pharmacies and employees who may face job relocations. Consumers are becoming more price sensitive, further challenging the pharmacy's profitability. Also in the U.S., the implementation of New York City's new rental law has significantly impacted Airbnb listings and the broader rental landscape. The regulation aimed at addressing the city's housing crisis led to a noticeable decrease in short-term rentals. Critics argue the crackdown hasn't eased the housing affordability issue as rents continue to climb and housing stock remains low. The hotel industry, however, has benefited with increased occupancy rates and higher room prices following the reduction in short-term rentals. The city's new law aims to prioritize permanent housing over temporary stays, but it has caused controversy amongst small-time hosts who feel unfairly targeted. Some continue to rent illegally, driven by the financial necessity to stay afloat in an increasingly expensive city. A U.S. ice cream manufacturer based in Maryland has recalled 68 ice cream products across 13 brands due to potential listeria contamination. This recall affects products distributed nationwide through retail locations and direct delivery. The company stopped production and distribution after the U.S. Food and Drug Administration tests found Listeria monocytogenes. No other products from the manufacturer are affected by the recall, and no illnesses have been reported. Consumers are advised to return any recalled products to the place of purchase for a full refund. Finland is set to become the first country to offer preemptive bird flu vaccinations to workers exposed to animals. Vaccinations for 10,000 people will start next week, with each person receiving 2 injections. The effort is part of a European Union initiative to distribute up to 40 million doses across 15 countries. The vaccine will be available to those older than 18. This includes workers at fur and poultry farms, lab technicians handling bird flu samples, veterinarians in regions with fur farms, and workers in wildlife sanctuaries and livestock farms. Finland has not detected bird flu in humans. If human infection occurs, close contacts with the infected will also be offered this vaccine. Denmark has announced a new pact with youth organizations to protect children in the European Union from the addictive designs of social media and tech giants. The alliance is aiming to counter features like infinite scrolling and autoplay, as well as algorithms that expose young users to disturbing content. The initiative responds to the growing recognition many children feel addicted to their devices, spending excessive hours on platforms like TikTok. There is a growing concern over the tech industry's failure to impose effective age controls and remove harmful content. Advocates highlight the necessity of real age verification and age-appropriate content requirements. They stress young children should not be exposed to content unsuitable even for adults. The solution they suggest lies in striking a better balance between physical activities and digital engagement in young people's lives. A recent report highlights teenagers in wealthy nations lack the financial literacy and math skills necessary for the digital economy. Despite increased interest in banking and cryptocurrencies, many 15-year-olds have difficulty understanding financial terms, with a fifth unable to calculate percentages. In the countries surveyed, including the U.S. and Italy, 18% of teens struggle with basic math skills needed for managing money. Although 2/3 have bank accounts, only 36% can confidently read bank statements. The report also showed only 11% of students could solve complex financial problems or understand investment differences. Experts emphasize the role of parents and schools in improving financial literacy, urging combined efforts to teach essential money skills. The UK has adopted out-of-detailed assessments, leading to significant data gaps. In Spain, Barcelona City Council is considering a ban on offensive or tasteless souvenirs. Proposed measures target items with homophobic or sexist content, including phallic bottle openers and branded shot glasses. Local officials describe the prevalence of such souvenirs as degrading to the city's image and its historic streets. A recent motion to regulate these items has gained approval from the city's Economic Commission, allowing further investigation into prohibiting offensive products. However, implementation challenges remain, as current regulations cannot easily define what constitutes bad taste due to the subjective nature of the concept. Supporters of the ban are advocating for creative solutions to address these regulatory difficulties. We have an exciting new announcement. We have launched a new global TV service specifically for the UNN community. Thousands of live TV channels, 60,000 movies on demand, over 30 languages, and live sports from around the globe. Between all the separate streaming services and cable for live TV and sports packages, it could cost well over $200 a month. But now with United TV, you can have it all for only $15.99 a month. Go to unitedtv.org and check it out. Get so much more for so much less. And now, the World Situation Report with Kimberly Gogan from the Office of the Guardian. Elon Musk claims he can use Neuralink to transfer a person's consciousness to a system so they can live forever. But is it true? The USA presidential debate last night looked like a scene from a B-rated movie. Who won? And the secret space program remaining members thought they could use several systems to take control of the financial system. Now, here is the World Situation Report with Kimberly Gogan from the Office of the Guardian.
Good afternoon and happy Friday, everyone. Was a little bit late again to the news today, but for a very good reason. It's been a really busy day and a busy night last night and a busy day yesterday as the deep state's still trying to install various systems. So I'll get into that in just a few minutes. But I wanted to go over a little bit of regular news. First, the debate. We had a presidential debate here in the U.S. Last night. I did not watch the whole thing. I could not do that. I watched a few little snippets here and there, just because there's a lot of talk on mainstream media about how Biden totally failed and Trump clearly won and all of these types of things. So I kind of clicked in to give you some highlights of things that I noticed that if you go back and watch little snippets of it, you'll probably notice too. Okay, next I also wanted to see it, I guess a little bit of it anyway, because it's not every day that two dead people get on TV and start talking to each other for a prolonged period of time. So I thought that was kind of funny. So I thought I would tune in for a little bit. Okay, so the debate. Number one, things you should notice when watching this debate. Trump has what I call green screen hair. It's very common in people with lighter hair or blonde hair to sometimes have a little bit of a green hue in your hair. I know I've had it on the news several times. And that's how I know what it looks like. And I also know what it looks like when they try to edit it out from your hair. And your hair looks abnormally flat or square or, when they're not very good at what they do. And I noticed that about Trump last night. So I don't think whoever is playing the part of Trump was actually in the same room with whoever is playing the part of Biden last night. That's one thing I definitely noticed. So if you take a look and if you're facing the screen in the upper right-hand corner, you'll notice a little bit of a green hue off and on, and that is green screen hair. So definitely we are looking at some people that probably aren't very good at video editing. Next, we also have an interesting part of this movie we're all watching, and that is both parties were reading from teleprompters. So if it was an actual debate and there were two people actually debating against one another, how did the other person know what to respond? And it was already scripted in a teleprompter immediately before the other person had even finished what they were going to say. This looked like a totally scripted movie. Therefore, whoever wrote one half also participated in the writing of the other half, meaning both Biden's alleged scriptwriters and Trump alleged scriptwriters were in the same room to orchestrate this debate last night. So if you're saying, well, I'm for Trump or I'm for Biden or I'm for whatever, you're for the same people because it doesn't matter which party was actually talking. The information was coming from the same people. But as you know, and I've told you from the beginning, this is Hollywood for ugly people, and this debate last night should have proved it hands down. So take another quick look at it if you have the stomach for it, and you'll see exactly what it is I'm telling you from this debate. Now, there were all kinds of rumors going on about it, that they were going to start 1 to 2 minutes late and that there was no live audience. And we know there was no live audience for a reason. And that's because neither one of them are actually there. I don't know what they'd be looking at. But it is unusual for that to happen. There were also some other unusual events that took place, such as, no press in the room, that kind of thing. But that's not surprising when you have green screen hair and clearly you're being, whoever that is being brought in from a remote location. Although, they try to make it look real. So nothing to see here, folks. Nothing new in that department. As far as other political operatives, I guess you would say operations are concerned, I noticed that the Q clock is now reading exactly on the 4th of July, just as I described it the other day. So they are planning on a military lockdown, which is going to start on that day. It'll only start on that day if they are successful in doing what they're trying to do, which is, for the last 48 hours, many attempts to try to have some kind of financial control of the world. Now, let's talk about some of the attempts, and then I'm going to explain to you about a system that is very old that existed in London and what they tried to do with it yesterday. So the first system they tried to use over the last 48 hours was the Visa and MasterCard core system. Now, for those of you that don't know what a core system is for cards, it is a worldwide relay data center system, meaning there are multiple data centers, they're all connected together, and they go typically according to the business day in each area. Well, the other areas that are, say, it's in the middle of the night in the United States, but it's the middle of the day in Asia, the predominant load of the system will actually be on the Asian servers and the Asian data centers, as one example. And then as Asia goes to sleep, it'll move over to Europe, and it's mainly due to the amount of transactions and the peak times of day in which those transactions need to be processed. Now, to explain the Visa and MasterCard system to not only to you, but also to the deep state, the reason why they chose Visa and MasterCard is because it is the largest processor in their mind of transactions daily of any other payment rail system. So a rail system is for lack of a better term, it's a closed loop system that processes transactions such as the wire system or IBAN system or target system if you're in Europe. There are many others, but the main one that processes most transactions is Visa and MasterCard. Obviously, all your debit cards are predominantly Visa and MasterCard in most countries, not all in the world. So they thought that this was a perfect opportunity to try to install some kind of a crypto system because they were under the impression they had full and total control of the Visa and MasterCard core systems. But wrong. Okay, Visa and MasterCard core systems used to, many months ago, function together with the Alpha and Omega systems. So it was a system that ran between the two of them, and the computing power it has to function at such a high level came from a secondary system to which this little core system was installed into. Hence the reason why it has so much transactional power. However, months ago, we took over the operating systems of Visa and MasterCard and replicated them, took out all the back doors, and put them in the global repository, Codex 685, and then connected that to, at the time, the Alpha system, and now it's reverted over to the Light system. So the system that they're really needing to get into is the Light system now in order to make this function. However, the Light system is not going to allow them to make it past the wall of the core system and into the Light system's programming itself. That'll never happen in this lifetime or the next one, to install a new currency into the entire worldwide point of sale system. Next, the second reason why this is going to fail is because people still deal in cash. Not every country has a totally functioning Visa MasterCard system. They might have it to some degree, but you'd basically halt commerce in about probably at least 40 to 50% of the countries in the world, because nobody deals electronically. And this deep state people really need to grasp that concept of how many transactions are done in physical cash around the world on the daily. Now, I'm sure they would probably come back to me and say, well, then everybody's going to buy everything they want at Walmart, or, because Walmart's worldwide, or some other worldwide corporate grocery store chain or something like that. But alas, no, because you don't have those facilities. So if you take out the small little guy in some countries, you will have no foothold in that country whatsoever. Because I guarantee you, people are going to start bartering. They're going to start trying to use anything they possibly can to exchange food for gas or whatever it is in that particular country, and then you'll be completely out. So your world domination plans would fall flat trying to use this system. Not only that, the base root system that you are attached to, or that Master and Visa card's web was attached to, is now my system. And I don't agree with what you're trying to do in any way, shape, or form. Therefore, the last button is a no. Now, speaking of the last button being a no, long before I was born, or even started into this aspect of my life, or what little of it I have left, meaning I don't really do much of anything other than work. So, long before I ever came about, there was a Marduk. And Marduk had access to level 7 or density 7 of the entire webs, both upper and lower astral, only. He never had access to 8 and 9. That was somebody else. We'll talk about that in a bit. But as it relates to human systems on Earth, such as Visa and MasterCard, he would still have to have the last key. So even if they found the 2 key holders or former trustees, monarchs, family members, dragon people, black sun people, security people, whoever you are, even if you found your counterparty key, you'd still need his approval to get in here. Now, he is no longer with us, and he is no longer in this position I am, except I am a level 9 when it comes to accessing systems. So that means with a 9 key, only key on this side of it, you would have to get my approval to access anything in 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. That means your deep web, beyond even the deep web, which would be levels 8 and 9 that you don't even understand. And then you would have to have, in order to install anything in the surface web, or where you're going with Visa and MasterCard, all the way up to level 8 where you're trying to access, you would still have to have my approval. It's always been a 3-key system. So I know that there's been a lot of talk about finding each other's counterpart and counter key. This party, 2-party or 3-party key system is no longer effective when you don't have 2 people that actually have a working key anyway. And at one point in time, I know that Putin actually had thought that he had taken Marduk's key, but it doesn't actually work that way. So Marduk used to carry around his neck a gold card that kind of looks like a hotel room key. You know how they're kind of blank, they really don't have much to them, but when you push it in the little door thing, it unlatches and you can go in. And those cards are typically white. This particular card was gold, and they thought that they had the golden ticket. But what they fail to understand is that keys on this level of things are not a physical code. They are not a key you plug into a card reader or a retina scan or a thumbprint, which is what the deep state is actually used to. They're used to having these types of systems and suitcases and scanners and whatnot that tell you, that this is the right person. There are multiple scans when you get beyond a level 7 and even a level 8. There are multiple other scans that happen. And these scans are not from this lifetime's DNA necessarily, because we're talking about your soul's DNA. We're talking about living DNA. We're talking about so many different points. It would be impossible to fake it. It is also the reason why the deep state's plans of capturing me, threatening me with jail time, and all this other stuff was never going to work, because the system will not let me access it per my design if I am under duress. So it will actually know if I'm lying or not lying, that this is something I want to do or don't want to do. So the thoughts of manipulating me into doing something for them are never going to happen. And this is why I believe they've gone absolutely nuts in the last couple of days. Their legal thing didn't work out last weekend, and now they're going to try everything they can to attack systems so that they can have some financial control. And they feel they've bought themselves enough time until the 4th of July to make it happen, which is a week from yesterday. Okay, attempt number 2. They have found remaining ancient humans from the Nazi Hydra division, which was a research and development human experimentation division that of the Nazi Party way back in the day. So you can imagine how old these men and possibly women are. And they thought that these people could actually crack into a code that was in Berlin in an underground facility of a particular alien technology that is no longer there and no longer functioning, so that they could get to what they believed was a base root platform that at one point in time the United States Department of Defense and global headquarters had access to. They believed that this was the base root security system for all sentient AIs on Earth. And again, you were wrong. Number one, the remaining people that were as old as dirt that you pulled out of God knows where are no longer with us. The other people that brought them there are also no longer with us. And that facility is not going to function no matter what you do, because the alien tech is gone. Now, as far as it ever being the ultimate defense or security system for all sentient AI or quantum AI systems on Earth, you are wrong again. It had limited access to what I call level 5. And if you go back to last Wednesday's different levels we discussed, you'll see what part of the deep web that I mean. So level 5 is the Mariana Trench level, as they call it, and that is what they were trying to access by accessing this system. What they believed they could possibly do is block any information, data packages or otherwise, coming from levels 6, 7, and 8 and cutting it off at the knees at a level 5, meaning they could then control predominantly 90%, what they believed was 90% of all of the computer systems on Earth from a 5 on down. But what they forgot, and that was a lovely plan, but with a level 9, 8, 7, and 6, I can control your 5. So even if you were successful in getting into any kind of system on level 5 in Berlin, Germany, you would have still failed, because I could have bumped you out at any given moment in time. So how it works is the higher the number, the more access you have to everything underneath that number. So 9 can control anything at all that exists on an 8, a 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Now, this not only goes for quantum AI systems, and quantum AI systems exist throughout the multiverse. So when I explained this in the news last Wednesday of last week, not just a couple days ago, we talked in levels of internet. Well, in the multiverse, levels of internet translate to densities in universes. So if I'm talking about accessing level 9, that means I'm either at the lowest level of the Omegaverse possible. The highest level, meaning I'm basically in source or in anti-source, making a system function from the central sun of the universe. That's where I am. That's where I'm going when I'm going to access these things. The same thing for 8 and 7. I'm in a different density when I'm accessing different levels. But if I just stay in control and command, which is a 9, then I can access everything, which is predominantly what I do. And my 9, under the old law of 1, when it existed, can access the highest level 9 of Alpha System at the time, or I could access the highest level of the Omega System at the time, or the highest level of the Chronos System at the time. So when they're seeing all these things disappear and go away, it's going away from control and command. Now, let me explain to you how this relates to our galaxy, because this is important, because they are under the impression that base root systems somehow tie to planets. And they're correct. They actually do. Now, the furthest planet out, at least, and that's debatable at this moment, because one day it's a planet and one day it's not, is Pluto. So they believed that the level 9 control and command system for Omega and possibly even Alpha existed on planet Pluto. Now, no. But I will say this, planet Pluto was a portal to the lower astral 9th density or anti-source itself. So it served as a portal or a stopover or a place where it could connect, but it did not actually hold anything. So given the fact that, and you can say the same about Neptune being an 8 and so on and so forth as you get all the way to the sun. But I would tell them, and I'm telling you, that with all those portals on all those planets closed, the influence on computer systems on Earth is non-existent, coming from another planet, the sun or the moon in our galaxy. So part of the reason why they like to wait till there's a new moon or a full moon or an eclipse is because of space junk that was in the sun and the moon. And they feel if the moon is aligned with Saturn or something, that means that you can now have a access point to the 6th density, of the lower astral, or the 6th level of the web on Earth. And that's absolutely not the case. It really doesn't work that way anymore. And a lot of this was put there by non-human beings. That being said, with a level 9 access, which is something that they will never have. And I'll explain that in detail here in a minute when we get done with all of the wonderful things they've been doing for the last couple days. Without that approval, without that, how do I say it? Without that cooperation from, in this particular case, on my side of it, with Source, with the light side of Source, or God, or however you want to say it, there's no way that I could ever walk in that door and walk into control and command. Therefore, I am fully well aware that they do not have that cooperation, nor will they ever. Now, we're going to talk about the next attempt. Long ago, there was a system installed on this planet, and we've talked about all of the X programs. Everything is X. Well, in the case of a potential Omega backup system, it was actually called the Triple X system. The Triple X system was something that could be used to a lesser degree from level 6 on down. I should say it was very limited, and of course with Marduk's authorization at the time as an off-market trading system for the Rothschild family or the Order of the Dragon, from the Blue Dragon on down. Now, the system hasn't functioned in a very long time. But some, how do we say it? Humans that believe very highly or think very highly of themselves believed that they could turn it back on. Now, their hope was, and this is in the words of Elon Musk, in his SpaceX program and Starlink program and all those other programs that he has, in his words, he thought that he could get a hold of the Triple X system, hook up the Starlink system to it, and therefore have the computing power to operate this system, at least from a level 6 on down, to then recreate a new financial system based on digital currencies. Well, let's talk a little bit about this system. Starlink is capable, and its satellite systems are capable of, helping you hook up to the internet at a speed that a human is used to, not at quantum speeds. And by quantum, I'm not talking about Google quantum computers here. I'm talking about faster than the speed of light. Fast, I mean, multiple data transfers per nanosecond, I mean, kind of fast. So Elon Musk and his secret space program partners and some Duck Dynasty people ventured out to Piccadilly Circus, or underneath Piccadilly Circus in London. Now, for those of you that don't know what's under the city of London, it is an enormous, what they call an MI6 facility. I'm not going to call it an MI6 or 5 facility. I'd say in part, possibly. But the main, how do I say this in a nice way? The main bit of activity that occurred underneath there is actually done by some secret space program people. And then beyond that, in the past, the rest were not human. So the Triple X system, as far as its base core, also did not exist in that location. There was only a transmitter there, which then allowed for that system to connect to human computers. They still couldn't have gotten into the base root system, even if we didn't destroy the facility. Now, as far as MI6, what they refer to as the circus, well, the circus appears to be out of business, mostly. They might still have some regular computers and a level 1 access point. to that facility to do some monitoring of people walking around the streets of London, and that's about it. As far as connecting to anything alien-like, that's not going to be possible. Now, Elon Musk had another brilliant idea that along with the XXX system came something that he also doesn't understand. These are two different types of satellites that orbit the Earth that were also made of alien tech. The first type of satellite is what I call a cylindrical satellite because they are long, they definitely are in the shape of a cylinder, and they hold and transmit an extremely large amount of data. So they are transmitters. At the same time, they're data recorders. Sometimes these satellites were hooked into programs being run from the lower astral that could interfere with your brain function, as an example. It would also record human behavior to see how best to control or destroy humanity. And that information was going to groups of beings in the lower astral. It was not shared with humans because you were part of the experiment too, even though you were part of the space program or otherwise. Sometimes they were also used to transmit messages to the heads of the people that were in some of those space programs and people like Elon Musk, that are also part of the order. So they're interesting satellites. Now, if you want to learn a little bit about cylindrical satellites, there is a movie, it's a few years old now, that does talk about the fact that the NSA had captured one of these satellites and they wanted to be able to hire someone who could decode the satellite so that they could read the information in it. And then what they did to the coder after that was terrible when he did manage to quote unquote crack the code. Now, the movie is called Alien Code. It came out in 2018. It's a good movie nonetheless, but it does talk all about cylindrical satellites and how they are alien tech and so on and so forth. So if they knew enough about it for the CIA to approve a movie about cylindrical satellites, then I guarantee you to some limited degree, Elon Musk was trying to get his hands on it. Did they know to the fullest extent what cylindrical satellites do? I don't know. And I'm going to say I don't think so, because they thought that this XXX system, if they could get access to this platform in London under Piccadilly Circus, that they could then connect and utilize these satellites and link them to Starlink. Now, he also has been talking quite a bit about his other product, Neuralink. And this is where it really gets scary. So we've talked in the past about implants and parasites in humans. Now, these aren't necessarily physical parasites. They can also be etherical parasites or energy parasites or essence parasites. And these are alien technology that you probably can't always see on a physical level. I do believe this is part of the reason why people talk about Morgellons and being itchy when there's nothing there and everybody thinks they're nuts. Well, they might just be more sensitive than other people. In this particular case, because implants and parasites were a very common way connected to cylindrical or spherical satellites, and we'll talk about spherical satellites in a second, that they would connect to every part of your being. So every part of your brain, that's how they would mess around with your amygdala, which controls your fight or flight, your reptilian cortex, and every other neocortex, the limbic system, your neurological system, any part of your body to extract energy, to drain you of life force on every single level, also to send in dark energy or something that would cause dis-ease in your body, also known as disease. So these satellites not always were they for the human function, but a lot of times they were involved in controlling and infecting and destroying human life on this planet. So Elon Musk comes out and starts talking about how his Neuralink product can be utilized to transfer a human's consciousness. This is what he's telling everybody. And if you could transfer the human consciousness into another vessel or another body, then you could live forever and be immortal, and you would remember everyone in your life, and you would remember everything you're doing, and he's just the guy to do it. So did he have some knowledge of what cylindrical satellites did? And did he actually think that the ones that were connected to the XXX program were the ones indeed that he was looking for? And did he think if he could connect his Starlink product, possibly with his Neuralink product, and those cylindrical satellites, that he could control all of humanity? Well, probably. Did it work? No. Is there any connection to those satellites? The satellites aren't there anymore. Not to say that there wouldn't be other ones, but more than likely the cylindrical satellites would be more of a data in, data out type thing. Best I can tell from me destroying fields and fields of them in Earth's orbit over the last 3 years. The second type of satellite would be more likely to be the one that they were looking for in order to control light, essence, energy, consciousness, matter, and frequency, and so on and so forth, which was actually something that was not connected to the XXX system. These types of satellites are called spherical satellites. So they look just like the Death Star from miniature little versions of the Death Star from Star Wars is what they look like. And they have a small, what I call an absolute sphere inside them. And an absolute sphere reminds me a lot of the little ball that some car manufacturers have that can control everything from your radio to your air conditioning to your heater in your car. Some car models have them. I don't know if they're still doing that, but I remember looking at a car that had this very thing and didn't end up purchasing it because my daughter was 5 and it took her all of about 2 minutes before she figured out that she could reach her foot from the back seat and hit the ball and make the whole system in the car go haywire. So that vehicle was out for me. But these little balls that are in these spherical systems or these spherical fields that were in Earth's orbit would have been able to connect to other spheres and other densities of the lower astral or otherwise, and therefore then manipulate the essence, energy, consciousness, matter, frequency in a human, as an example, or on Earth or in the oceans or anything organic, if it was one that contained the connection to the light side of essence, energy, and consciousness. Now, some of them were strictly for the control of dark matter. Some of them were connected to the consciousness of their bloodlines, I would say their dark part of their consciousness. That's why they believe that the more dark consciousness they had in their brain, hence the programming and the taking them to underground facilities and teaching them to kill at the age of 2 and 3, in their summer camps for kids where they did all kinds of crazy experiments. The reason why they do that is because the more dark consciousness you had in your head, the more these systems could control. Did the humans have any kind of control of that? No, they were just under the impression if they create war, evil things, promote fear, that somehow it powers a computer system. That's what they thought. Or something. There would be a reaction from some kind of alien technology that would be in their favor. not exactly true, and I'm probably not going to expand much more on that. But to give you an idea, this is what Elon Musk was looking at connecting his Starlink system to just in the last 48 hours. Okay. Epic failure number 3. Now, there seems to be some confusion in having some conversations with these bankers, fixers and banking fixers and potential board members of banks and all of these things as to why do I have access to these things? And why the people, they're under the impression, because we're getting further and further down the food chain now, and why those people don't have that access anymore. And code givers versus code receivers, and they're starting to enter into a whole other world of things that they don't really understand. The same goes, believe it or not, for the secret space program people, the global headquarters people. There are things in this world that they were not privy to. They were supposed to dance. That's it. You were supposed to do your job on behalf of someone else. You would be likened in the world that we lived in the past. The global headquarters people you know and see as deep state, people that run militaries behind the scenes, people like the black nobility and the Vatican, and all things you've come to know as evil, which is virtually every system on earth. You would be under the impression that these people need to be taken down. We need to see mass arrests. We need to see these people go away. But if this was 10 years ago, it wouldn't have made a bit of difference if one of those people was put in jail or taken out or whatever it is that you were thinking, or whoever it is you set your sights on, whether that's the Clintons or the DuPonts or the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers. It wouldn't have made any difference whatsoever if these people were taken out. They would just replace them with the next person in line, and they couldn't care less. It's not like they mourned their loss or anything like that. Now, meetings. I'm going to talk about meetings because we're coming up to the annual meeting times that happen every year. And I talk about them every year because we're running out of people to go to meetings. But once every 7 years, it was a completely different type of meeting. Once every 7 years, there would be a meeting of both the angels and the fallen angels as it relates to the outcome of the next 7 years. That meeting was due to take place last year, not this year, like these people think. And they are instructed by Source itself to do their job. Therefore, you would consider these people operators of level 8 systems. Could they actually be called upon at any time to go to a level 9 and perform a function? The answer is yes. They could be. They could take any one of those people, and of course this is a source or an anti-source thing, and move upon into another position. Now, as far as humans are concerned, they were nowhere near these meetings. They would have never been permitted to go to these meetings in any way, shape, or form, and in any way, not on the dark side and not on the light side. However, things have changed. Sometimes there are people that are put on this planet, and you might be even talking to someone and you just don't even know, that have been put here to conquer or to set things straight or restore balance. And those are, let's just say, folks that hail from the 9th density, that are sent here to perform a function, meaning level 8 has failed. What it means when I say level 8 has failed, that means your groups of fallen angels that would typically meet once every 7 years have failed. They did not follow the instructions coming from level 9 or source, anti-source, or neutral source itself. So that means when they step out of line, 9 sends somebody in to set everything straight, to follow direct orders and instructions based on the lay of the land and what is happening, not only here on Earth, but also in other places whenever needed and whenever everything is out of balance. And sometimes, based on everything that's going on, the refusal to accept balance from 8 on down, sometimes that means that, okay, we're going to change the game now. And that's basically what's happening. But again, my level 9 access is only as good as the orders I'm following from that particular location. And I will not deviate from those orders, not now, not ever, because that has a lot more consequences than just financial systems and everything else that you might think. So if you want to know why I have that position, that's why I have that position, because everybody else failed. Now, as far as the stupid humans on the planet that we are stuck with or left with, meaning not all human beings, just the particular ones that are programmed or something's wrong with their head, and we call them deep state people, global headquarters, some remaining secret space program people. They're still pitch hitting for a team that is no longer here. They are now convinced themselves, and I've heard them say this, they've convinced themselves that they are going to win. They have convinced themselves that they are entitled to have a position higher than those they reported to. They have convinced themselves that they are, quote unquote, anti-source, I guess, chosen one. Therefore, they should be ruling the planet. These are conversations that they're having amongst themselves. Now, unfortunately for you guys, in other words, the people of the deep state, do you have anybody else on the other end of the line answering your call? Are you doing this, you think, by yourselves? The answer to the question is no, you absolutely cannot. Now, if I didn't have a partnership on that level to be able to walk into the door on that level, then I would be out too. These people are expecting to use computer hackers, CyberLife military, and whoever, Hydra with the Nazis, to bypass a level 9 approval to do something. The answer to the question is they never, ever will. But a basic understanding of how this planet used to function, they need to get a grip. You were just tools and widgets. You were the pawns on the chessboard. You were never the players. You were never the rook. You were never the queen. You were never the king. Those people or beings no longer are here, and nobody is answering your telephone call. Nobody is sending messages to your brain from a cylindrical satellite anymore, are they? No, you're making this stuff up all by yourself. And I know that for a fact because I know that none of these messages are going out to you in any way, shape, or form. So they can continue to try and hack my brain, which they've tried to do many times. They can continue to try and hack computer systems. And if you think Visa and MasterCard is going to override that kind of access, you have lost your ever-loving mind. Do I expect them to give up? No, I don't. But I do expect them to get off this planet because nobody wants you here anymore. Heck, even Source doesn't want you here anymore, and you're being taken out left and right. Are you going to take all the banks with you? Are you going to take all those people with you? But I can tell you right now, if you're with a bank and you're listening to this, or you're a bank fixer, or whoever was down the street the other day, listen up, guys. These people are never going to come through. Life is never going to go back to the way that you had it in the past. You failed to accept balance. And you can blame that. You can turn right around and look at the people that you report to and tell them you failed to accept balance. And look where we're at now. Never going to go back. So you can continue to have jobs. You cannot continue to have jobs. We also have people in the political sector that are talking about quitting their jobs, especially after last night, meaning the operatives that run, those things that talked on TV, whatever that is. And they're like, well, what do we do? This is our expertise. Well, there's plenty to do, and there's plenty to clean up in the political sector of this planet. Remember, security equals control, and maybe there's something we can do there. But I can't do it if you're still going to take orders from other people. So you can listen to those people. You can wait until after the 4th of July. You can continue to do what it is you're doing, but it's not going to get you anywhere. Matter of fact, we've even taken our security on the light system to a whole nother level this morning, and we installed a number of different things that basically, anytime someone tries to throw a line at our system, what it actually will do is attach itself to that line and go directly to the system that is coming from, whether that's under, say, McCoy Base in Wisconsin, which is a place that I've been recently, under Jericho in Israel, been there recently. It doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing. I don't even have to attack anything anymore. It's just going to pull it and it's going to transmute it into our system. That's what it's going to do. So since they never try to attack anything, because they can't, they know that they could never get alpha, and they know that they could never get the light system to function and perform the evil tasks which they would like it to do. So they know their only hope at this moment is to try to revive a dark system to do dark things, because that's what they like to do. So they're only hacking at it from a standpoint of trying to call in money, trying to gain access to allocation numbers, trying to fake me out with fake terminals and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's a game for these people. For me, it's like a fly in the room. Maybe you're trying to watch a movie and it's buzzing around your head. It's a little annoying, but it's not going to stop you from watching the film. And then if it comes near you too many times, you swat it. Or you push it outside. I know for us around here, we have these little cups we hold in the summertime especially, and we take it outside, let it go. But point is that it's an annoyance, but it's not going to make me deviate from my daily activities or what it is I'm doing. So as far as these people are concerned, I guess what I'm saying to these people is a last-ditch effort to get them to save themselves. Because at this point in time, by saving themselves, I'm not talking about world power. I'm not talking about domination. I'm talking about your life and the life of your family members. So take a good look at your kids and your grandkids and figure out what it is you want to do. Survive, keep what you got, leave us alone, and you continue to exist. Choose poorly, and we have full authorization and quote unquote to make sure we give our enemy no mercy. And this is an ongoing order, because this is going to happen with or without them. So going into the weekend, I expect it to be another busy weekend. They haven't stopped. Even while I'm sitting here talking to you, my alarms buzz, 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 buzz the whole time, because they just will not give it up. But hopefully they'll figure it out, one way or the other. It's worth a shot, at least to make everybody's life a little easier. But I anticipate things to continue at this pace until around the 4th of July. I don't know what they think that's going to do. It's got nothing to do with American independence, I can tell you that, or declarations of independence or anything. It's something deeper than that. They're sadly mistaken. That already happened like 5 years ago. So what they're looking for. Anyway, as far as the World Situation Report, can't talk today for Friday. That's about what I have that I can disclose at this moment in time. And hopefully I can give you some more information on Monday. So good things are happening. Things will get better. I know it's been rocky for the last couple of days as they continue to try to do crazy things, but hang in there, keep holding the light, and we'll see you Monday.
Want to share news from UNN? Help us change the face of social media and use it for good. Connect with us through our online channels. Our social media team creates clips from each newscast you can easily share with people you care about. That's also where you'll find our UNN Meme of the Day, a great way to encourage critical thinking. Links to all our social media sites are available at the bottom of our website at unitednetwork.earth. Let's change the face of news together.
And that wraps up today's news update. Please share UNN with your friends and family. We need everyone to come together and help restore our planet. When news happens in your area, record and share it with us so together we can share it with the world. Remember, if it's going to be, it's up to me. I'm Sunny Galt. Join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the real news.